I did a lot of drawing. I was a kid, always drawing stuff.
Got it.
And I was super heavily influenced by James Bond gadgets. I thought those were the cool, like anything that popped out of the car, like ignore the part where it's probably killing someone, but the gadget part, like just hidden things popping out of stuff is just like mind blowing. I'll tell you, both my grandfather and my dad, and probably me, will never clock out. We will always be working. There's just
too much.
Get bored.
Yeah, can't turn
Actually, it really just gets bored.
Yeah, I get
Stop.
it. Especially when you're like, you can see the answer too, where you see something that's an issue.
It almost feels inconsequential sometimes what you're doing, because I designed these 3 parts, but there's like 200 other engineers that have touched this and worked on it. And like, you're just you also feel like this tiny little cog in this machine that's massive.
Looking for real stories of real people making a difference in the Grand Canyon State? Welcome to Finding Arizona Podcast. We sit down with Arizona's inspiring entrepreneurs, creatives, and community leaders, and give you a front row seat to their journeys, passions, and projects. Whether you're a local trying to find a hidden gem, or just enjoy watching someone chase their dreams, Finding Arizona is your go-to place for authentic conversations with a desert twist. New episodes drop weekly, so hit subscribe and start exploring Arizona one story at a time.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose, and as always, we bring in special guests every week, and today is no different. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce Ian Peterman here. And Ian, I want to say thank you again for coming aboard. You are, doing my research. I mean, incredible, designer, intelligent mind, business owner. So I really do appreciate you coming in, and we're going to be talking about the Peterman design firm. Thank you, Ian, for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Jose. It's really, really great to be on the podcast. I met your partner a while ago on this show, and I don't know why we just never connected, but then I realized we should actually do an episode together. That's what you guys do. So I'm super happy to finally be on the show and
absolutely.
Enjoy it. So everybody should actually listen to all these, but glad to be on here.
Well, I do really appreciate it. And she is honestly my biggest supporter on all sorts of scales, as one partner should be for another. But again, she has gone above and beyond. A lot of the times I'm so surprised that she even has time to think about that sort of stuff to still be pitching. So it's incredible that she's still doing that. And even with the, how much she does. But I'm here to ask you a ton of questions just to get to know you a little bit better. And I really want to start off with the thing that we usually start off with every guest is give us a little bit of your origin story. I imagine as a kid, you were the one that was taking apart things.
I think I did take apart some things. I was more, kind of jumping back. I did a lot of drawing. I was a kid, always drawing stuff.
Got it.
And I was super heavily influenced by James Bond gadgets. I thought those were the cool, like anything that popped out of the car, ignore the part where it's probably killing someone, but the gadget part, just hidden things popping out of stuff is just mind blowing when you're a little kid and you're like, that came out of a car mirror? What do you mean?
Exactly. When one thing can fit inside of another thing without it being obvious, or you're just whoa.
Yeah, it's like Transformers, but cooler, I think.
Absolutely. I get it.
Not to diss on Transformers. Those are cool too. But yeah, I was always that, and Star Trek really were technology, cool gadgets, stuff that moves, and you're like, wow, somebody's coming up. Also just somebody came up with this stuff. What? This isn't our normal everyday thing. This is not a pencil. This is cool.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of drawing, and my dad and my grandfather both engineered designers. So I had that kind of background.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of turned into slowly my dad, I bucked him enough, I think. I learned how to draw more technically. He actually created the whole teaching program for technical drawing.
Beautiful.
Basically how he taught me. And then I learned CAD, and then I ended up doing some work under him, kind of just learning because he did contract work. And
beautiful.
So I started some of my first projects were working on medical devices,
Nice.
racks that go into ER rooms, things like that. And then at 16, I got a internship at a different company doing telecommunications lasers. And so kind of at each of these steps, I like did it and I still loved it.
Nice.
And that's, really reaffirming when you're like, oh, I actually still like this. This is,
this is That's good. Great.
I do like it. I don't hate it after doing it now. Yeah. And so that just, from there, went to college. I originally tried the mechanical engineering route, but I'm not a calculus guy. So I found out that industrial designs, you can do almost the same stuff, but no math. Yeah. So I did that. And then I worked it, kind of from there. I was just working at big companies. I worked at like HP and Nike, and then a lot of contracting work, and now my own firm.
That's amazing. I mean, we do this to kind of get understanding of the origin of the individual. And for me, it's really like looking at a tree. The tree has roots. And one of the fantastic things is you can dig those roots up, take a look and see how extensive they get and how big and how, kind of this massive thing that grows out of the ground has these massive things that are holding and supporting it from the foundational part. And so I just really like telling that origin story from the sense of like your eyes, so that I can actually pick out some certain things in there. I think it's beautiful that you and your father and your grandfather share this kind of passion for drawing enough to almost settle into the same career paths. Can I ask you what your relationship was like with your dad and your grandfather, especially when those moments of like, come draw with me or come look at my drawings?
Yeah, I mean, they're always super supportive. I will say that they're both very supportive, and actually now my dad works for me.
Oh, awesome!
Doing some work.
Yeah,
I've been able to get my firm to a point where now I bring him in on projects, not full time. He doesn't. Yeah, he comes in as.
I can't imagine he'd be like, "Yeah, I want to be doing." I mean, after doing it for so long and just kind of like, I don't know, that retirement age is just like sometimes some minds are just like, I'm good. I can take on a little bit here and there, but sometimes it's just like they don't clock out, and that's the one where I'm just like, how do you do it?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, both my grandfather and my dad, and probably me, will never clock out. We will always be working. There's just can't
too
turn
much.
It off. Get bored.
Yeah, I can't turn it off.
It really just gets bored.
Yeah, I get it. Especially when you're like, you can see the answer too, where you see something that's an issue and you know what the answer is, or it creatively brings out the juices, and you're just like,
well, it's even
I gotta fix this.
I don't know. Worse, you start to take a vacation, and then solution arises, and you're like, okay, but now I have to get this down. I have to implement this somehow, and then you can go back to your vacation. But there's always that take a little break, something coming. You're like, okay, I gotta get this done now.
Well, like the thing for me, because my career or my education was in landscape architecture, so the same situation happens during vacations where there's more pictures of plants and just like things that people interact with, like landscapes and like pictures of more things other than my family on my phone.
Like badly designed parks.
Yes, does that
ruin
good designed parks. Like, oh God, you have no idea. Like my wife will roll her eyes when I start pointing out design failure. She's like, I don't care. Like you can
no one else knows
like,
this.
Yeah, no one else is doing. You see all those people playing and not caring. Like, but I care.
They're still having fun. It's fine. No, it's not.
No, you're aggressively like in your head. You're like, no, this has to change. So okay, the fact that it's like again, you're guided through the process of like passion drawing and kind of this beauty of like your father handing down his own love of it too as well to you. The fact that he like, okay, I I see something in my son. He is asking me to help him more and more. I have to figure out a way to program this so that it doesn't feel like he's not going down a certain path. Or I don't know, what was your dad's like kind of like after he programmed that kind of lesson plans?
It was really kind of like just skill set.
Okay.
And like
today we're gonna learn how to use a triangle, like a speed square or something
it was
like
just,
that.
It was just that stuff, and I kept interested. Which not all my I'm the oldest of 4. My brother's an engineer as well. He's a civil engineer. He liked calculus, so he stuck with the engineer side.
Yeah.
But neither of my sisters. They did not go down this route. So I was very driven down this path. It became probably when I was about 12. I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do, which was really nice. When I was older and working, like, okay, cool. I actually still like this.
Yeah.
I didn't start making a commitment in the wrong direction.
Did your grandfather and father ever were they similar in style and like taste, or were they ever butting heads on like design and anything like that?
I don't know that they actually designed very much together.
Okay.
They're very, I don't know. I actually don't know.
I'm so curious because again, when you have multiple generations, like you look at the Fords and like generations of similar backgrounds, similar career paths, I'm always curious if there's something that kind of just like, either makes them butt heads or just even more symbiotic. Like we love the same kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think for the 3 of us, not to speak too much for them, because they're not here, but they can't speak for themselves right now. I would say it's more about like problem solving, and it just happened to be that drafting, design, drawing, like that's the way that we can be really good at communicating solutions.
Yeah.
So it just kind of happened, but it's more of a problem solving kind of solution thing. So it's
I like that.
I don't think it's less butting heads, or more just like we're very driven to solve, especially like mechanically inclined problems.
Got it. Yeah.
Seeing the issue, seeing the problem, and being able to put it on paper is really. I will say we all 3 of us worked at the same. We worked at it's called Hanford Nuclear site up in Eastern Washington. We all 3 of us have worked there, so we have that. Well, it's like
it's kind of funny too, because like
terrible work to do.
It's kind of funny. It's like, because again, when you have multiple generations coming into a same building or doing the same thing, it's just like, oh no. My favorite thing is like, oh no, it wasn't the grandfather, it was the grandson that did this portion of the building, or like whatever it may be. It's like this portion of the job. So it's always, to me, it's beautiful, but it also has these little quirks inside of it when the generational thing comes into play. So I would love to ask you, just from the setting of like working with your dad those first couple of times when he gave you an opportunity to just start taking on a little bit, or giving you like opportunities to work with him in those projects, what did it feel like when you accomplished or finished your portion? And did dad give you kudos? Like, what did it feel like?
So long ago now. I mean, I was always excited to do it. I always liked doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like kind of a dual one. It was a way for me to make some money, little pocket money, which was, and when you're a kid, you're like, this is amazing. Of course I want to do this. But also like learning and being able to do it right. And like, because I would see like, okay, how much did he change? how much did I do wrong versus right? There's that learning curve, and so for me, it's like that's always been a kind of like a driving thing. Like, okay, I did it once. This is how many red marks. Let's get less. Let's get better. So like that kind of, it all have worked perfectly together for me to be really driven to get better. and I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed doing some of these things that are mundane at first, but when you're new to it, you're like, okay, but I'm learning things. This is cool.
Exactly.
This is cool. And I would spend a ton of time like just 3D modeling stuff on my own. And so whenever I learning from him was a way to be like, okay, well now I can go make my James Bond design new things myself. And like it would just kind of fuel this other creative outlet so much. So it was like, this is cool. This is fun.
I like that.
I would do that for hours and hours every day.
What was it like for you and your family when you got the internship to the job, to the first career job?
I mean, that was always big, right?
Yeah.
It took a lot. I mean, I had to do a real interview. It wasn't fast food. It wasn't like I had
big time stuff.
Technical questions, but I had fun. So I will say that I was probably pretty lucky. I had the engineer that interviewed me. He'd had probably 5 or 6 years of having summer interns.
Yeah.
And so he knew like questions to ask. And I think probably my naivete in it. I did not get too frozen up on anything. And I was just myself. And that happened because it is my world. Like this is what I live and breathe.
Like
I acted the way that he wanted somebody to act to meet the requirements. And I found out later, he's like, oh yeah, I will never forget this. He brought in some samples, like part of the interview is like, okay, talk about design. And like, I could talk about CAD and stuff like that was no problem.
Yeah.
But then he brought like this bag of sample parts. They're just like random, like no whole products, just like parts of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just puts them on the table. And like, I started looking at them. So I'm like, oh, of course he wants me to look at them. Maybe I'm going to question about this or something. I got to like look at this. And after, I think it'd been like 6 weeks or something after getting hired, he was like, one of the reasons you got hired was because you actually picked up that stuff, because most people, they're afraid to touch the parts that I put on the table.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm glad I grabbed them then.
Yeah. What an interesting, like, again, what an interesting test to try and figure out the different kind of individuals that are like more assertive, less assertive. Like if you're picking it up, you have confidence in what you're doing and you kind of feel curiosity.
Well, you're willing you're willing to touch these parts. You're willing to look at it. Like, I mean, this guy's been doing it long enough. I was like, look, you just figured this out. This is like your magic.
It's simple enough. It's a simple enough test, but it shows so much in the individual who's taking it. Like it shows a lot. And so I find that very that's some Mr. Miyagi kind of stuff where it's just like, it's so simple. Like every intern should pick up the part and look at what's being put in front of them. So that being said, I'd love to now transition into after the education part and going into the first career, moving into kind of bigger corporations. What's it like being a corporate kind of person, helping brands develop different visuals, different actual products that are going to be used? Was there any stress that, especially working with Nike and some of the bigger guys, where it's like you're looked at as someone who's needing to know what they're doing because these products are being used by thousands of people?
It's interesting. It is not for me. I will just lay that out there right now.
Okay.
I did not stay in corporate for a few reasons. Yes. So you are right. Like there is kind of this, okay, well, you are touching a product, and, like when I worked at HP, I worked in their printer division, and we're talking about the parts that I designed. There are millions to billions of those that will be produced without changes. Like it's
over and over and over again.
And the company, the company is going to spend tens of millions of dollars in tooling, and they're going to spend $100 million in marketing budget off of your parts. Like you are influencing this massive chain of products. So there's kind of that like, oh, I need to be, but at the same time, you're one of like in those size companies, you're one of so many people.
Mm-hmm.
It's also easy to just kind of, well, yeah, but it doesn't really like, it almost feels inconsequential sometimes what you're doing because I designed these 3 parts, but there's like 200 other engineers that have touched this and worked on it.
Yeah.
And like, you're just, you also feel like this tiny little cog in this machine that's massive.
Got it.
And so it's kind of it's a weird mental space to be in if you actually sit down and start to think about it. If you're just like working, like you don't worry about it. But for context of what we're talking about, when you actually sit down and think about it, it's a very interesting, weird.
Absolutely. And I get it because I was in the corporate world. There's this feeling of being a part of a bigger meaning of like you're part of a bigger entity and you are moving the needle with the work that you're doing. But at the same time, you feel minuscule because you are a part of a massive team of 200. And no one's going to look at this. How do you like identify like this little micro rotating whatever it may be that's just my section of it, but no, it is overall arching like this back and forth of like our team is successful as a team because we work together, this product works, and then the business grows because of the team and because of everyone that does the work. So it can get really like this weird big and small sort of thing. And as the individual human part of it, there has to be a culture of positivity reinforced in that group and in that team to make day in and day out feel like it's not a drag or a slog. And so, I can get it. I've been there and it is not for me as well. And that is why I have a podcast and now a full-time podcaster. But that being said, I'd love to now understand your aha moment for moving into your own. Like, what was it like for you? Because for me, I had to be repeatedly told that you can do this, you can do this, you can be successful on your own. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, mine was more of a kind of, I always knew. So I wanted to launch my own design company when I was probably about 15, 16. I decided like, I want to work on really cool cutting edge stuff. And if you look at design companies of the ones that are really doing cutting edge, even the big corporations, they hire outside innovation teams to help them come up with stuff that they're like, when you work at HP, you're really good at mass producing what has already been created.
Yes.
So you're just refining and improving, but you're not really inventing.
Yes.
Like those are the specialized R&D teams or the outside companies. And so I was like, I really want to be in this. I want to really invent stuff. Kind of back to the James Bond gadgets and Star Trek. Like, I want to do the cool stuff. And it seemed pretty obvious that that's the way to guarantee that was to work outside and run a company. And so I ended up I did contract work on the side pretty much as soon as I started working.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while. And then basically I got my degree. I took some time. It took me like 6 years to get my degree because I worked full time through the whole thing.
Fine. Yeah.
So like I eventually got the degree, and then I knew a couple people, and we're all just kind of like, well, it's really hard to find any good jobs right now doing design as industrial designers.
Yes.
But like we have the skill set, we could easily let's just start a company. Let's just do it. We'll just make our own job. So we did that, and we ended up having 4 partners, and that was a really good experience because doing contract work on the side, like that's one experience, and I definitely could have gone that like solo freelancer route, but it has its pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
And so getting the experience of, okay, well, here's having partners, here's running a company, having payroll. Like there's this long, when you get into like, I want to start a company, there's this other really long list.
Oh yeah. The actual like business aspect of it, like
a CPA and attorney. Like it's not just by freelance is different. Right.
Yeah.
So getting that experience and having some partners during that was really good because I got to learn. We all learned together because it was all our first, technically our first. I grew up, my parents always had like some sort of small side business.
Yeah.
So I knew kind of like, here's the basic steps of like how to open a company and what you need, like how not to get sued.
Yeah.
For stupid things. Right. Yeah. But there's a difference between like, oh, I've seen somebody do it a couple times and like I've done it. So we did it, ran that for 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of just worked out. That ended up closing, but I really enjoyed it. So I took a little bit of a break, did some other work, and decided that I wanted to go back to it. And so that's when I decided to launch Peterman Design Firm and just on my own, no partners, but I'd already learned the playbook. I knew how to start it. I knew what
you're fine.
I made some really key decisions. Like I did not want any offices. Like the first firm, we went and got the offices and we rented the space and we did, kind of like what we could see other people doing. We just were like, all right, we'll just copy what other people are doing and see if we like it. And then I decided like, it's not worth it having an office for what we do because it was also digital that we could do things. So, which fortuitously prepared us for COVID. We were already, before COVID, I was training my clients on how to use Zoom. So like I would be IT support. I would call them. We're like, okay, this is what you need to click. Let's follow these, download Zoom.
So you were like, I got like the whole Zoom thing is fine. I'll be okay working here. And like that's so, I mean, it's really cool that you got the inside loop of that and not had to worry about like transitioning and getting.
Yeah, I was pre-trained.
Yeah, you were pre-trained. Gosh, you avoided like a real situation because had you taken on another lease for a place or an office and then COVID happened, what are you going to do? Everyone's gone. Yeah. Like you have to pay out of pocket. Yeah. And so that, you avoided a real tragedy there for a minute. I would love to ask you too. It's like when you're bringing to the attention of like career paths, we end up like doing certain things that tends to change and then we go down a different route. I would love to hear the perspective from like talking with your family of like not only telling them that you're shutting down or letting go this one entity, but like also I want to open up this new firm after experiencing all of this. What was it like, especially with your dad and you're, talking to him? I would love to hear that conversation.
Yeah, what I would say is that my family is very supportive. Both my parents, my siblings, my kids, right? They're all supportive. They also all think that I'm a little crazy because like none of my siblings, they're all working very stable jobs, or like one has a medical career, or my brother's a civil engineer for a Department of Transportation. Like he's basically locked in. He'll have a retirement and pension. Like they're very stable. And I'm like over here being like, I'll start a new design firm. Let's just like throw this in. So like there are definitely times if you launch your own business of any kind, there are times where you question that.
Yeah, of course. I'm doing it right now. Like every day when I wake up in the morning, it's like, am I doing the right thing here? So
right, it's almost one of those things you have to decide every day. Like, okay, today, do I still want to do this?
Yes.
Do I want to continue? Right. So from the outside, there's obviously like a little, I don't know if I would say concern, but probably a little bit of concern of like
empathy. Consideration.
Is this good? Are you sure that you're still good with this? Like,
because they're still your loved ones and they care about you and your health and mental well-being and everything in between. So it's like they just, again, they draw concern because they also see your experience, what you have been through before. So it's like,
they know when there's bumps in the road.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that part of it though is also understanding, like, I did try the corporate world, and I like I mentioned, I worked at a Hanford government job, super cushy. I made 80 grand a year as a 20-year-old.
Nice.
And I hadn't finished my degree. Like, it was amazing. There was basically no work. It was being paid to sit there and do nothing. I got in trouble because I got my boss in trouble because I honestly told his boss in a meeting that he hadn't given me any work and I was waiting for work. So like, I can't, like, that's one extreme. Then there's a corporate, I would say, in the middle, and it's just boring and monotonous to me. I can't, there's only so many times I can design the same printer before I am like, I can't do this anymore, guys. Like,
I love
not
that.
for me. Sorry. I want to do new things that I haven't beaten to death already in the last 2 years. So
There's
like,
only so many times the office jet 2070-20 can be replicated and put on a piece of paper. And
upping the number by 1 does not mean there was much change. It does. It's a new number and marketing is excited, but we didn't do much.
There's a racing line now.
pretty much. And not to diss them too much, but that's
yes. No, I can imagine like some of the again, you'd be surprised too with my world of like landscape architecture of like, we talk about rocks, we talk about pavers, we talk about like
there's only so many rocks you can get.
Yes.
Unless somebody finds a new rock that nobody's ever seen before.
Like there's only so many esoteric things we can, find. Like it becomes like this jargon talk of like, what are we doing? Why can't we have a normal conversation? Like just.
So I don't fit in that world. Cannot do it. So for me, this is the only option that I've found that's kept my interest. So I run my own firm now, between the two, for over a decade.
I love it. I have great.
Not stayed at a job long. Like my firm, we opened in 2017, so we're what is it, 8 years now? Actually, almost to the day. Starting in August, so like 8 years.
That's amazing.
I never kept a job more than 2.5 years anywhere else.
I'm right around the 4 to 5 years. I tend to like.
I can't
stick around maybe a little too long, but it's like that's typically and other things happen. It's like COVID happened and it's all sorts, but it's like right around the 4 to 5-ish years mark. But yeah, I agree. It's like there are a certain set of things that happen that you just again are like the joy's not there, so I have to move on to something else. And now that you're here and doing this on your own, you have solidified being this person. So again, I
still question.
Yes, no, like, there will never not be.
It's like, oh, it's super easy once you start. No,
not, every day you're questioning everything.
It's a different questioning, but ultimately, as much as I've questioned it, I'm still here, and that for me is like, okay, yeah, there's definitely some hard stuff. There's a lot more to say. I like right now I have people on payroll and I have like other families, other people's kids depending on my company working. So they all get to have, pay rent, eat food, right? Like it's not just me anymore. So like there's more, but at the same time, it's more rewarding than other work.
Yeah. I have like so many other questions too that we can get into, but we got to keep pushing forward through this. And now we're into the actual design firm, the Peterman firm. I have to ask, give us a little bit of like for you, what are some of your like non-negotiables when it comes to your work, or just like the things that you fundamentally believe you guys do the best and what you brought to the table, because everyone's different. I'd love to just hear from your perspective of what makes you guys different.
Yeah. So as you said, there are many, many other companies that do similar things. Like we're not the only design company in the world. Yeah. What we really kind of specialized in. And well, kind of step back a little bit.
Yeah.
In 2020, thanks to COVID, we lost about 80% of our clients. And I took some time because I had it to answer the question, like what makes the design, like what's special about your design process?
Yeah.
Because ultimately in design, it's really one of the only things that's unique between, like, everybody can do CAD, everybody can do, they have the same degrees. It's how do you think about and how do you process creating a solution?
Yeah.
Right. So, and everybody's is different. There's no, if you can pull a line of 1,000 engineers and most of them will be at least a little bit different in how they think about things. So I answered that question. I wrote a book with my wife, Conscious Design, and that's kind of our philosophy. And so one of the things that we really is part of what we think about is taking into consideration really looking at what are all the little impacts that your product makes along the way. A lot of emphasis is on, well, maybe the consumer or the company selling it, right? Those get all the show. Everybody pays attention to those. But there's also, how does it impact the people making it out of the supply chain? What are those impacts? What is more of the social impact, the environmental impact?
Yes.
And really, how do you take those into consideration and turn those into what most people think of those are, okay, that's just more work to do. It's more paperwork. It's harder, right? They just think of the downside of it, right? And like, what does it take away? But we really look at it and go, well, those are all points that we can differentiate. How do we, because one of the things we've seen is, sustainability has changed from, it's a selling feature, like, oh, this mug is sustainably made. You could have sold that 10 years ago for twice as much money and people would love it. Now people expect it to be there. So how do we wrap that into our process where instead of trying to upcharge, because there's design firms out there like, oh, we'll do sustainable only, but it's like 3 times the cost and it's really crazy about it. And we take more of this approach, well, all these things are integrated. Like whether you're looking at it or caring about it, these are all happening. You are making an environmental impact. You're making a social impact. You're making a financial impact. It's all happening.
Yeah.
So how about we just kind of integrate it all? And instead of trying to convince you that those things are important, we just put it into our process. And then we go, okay, well, we designed you something that, oh, by the way, it happens to be more sustainable.
Yeah.
Your marketing team is going to thank us. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Here's some real points that you can use. Here's some actual things they can say that aren't greenwashing that will help you sell. But we don't really take the approach of like, oh, we're just going to ram this down.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have to be sustainable or you suck. Yeah. It's like, well, how do we put this all together in a way that's like, okay, well, we've made a product now that it's going to meet all your financial requirements. Your company's going to grow from it. It's going to do all the things that you need to do to keep alive as a business and keep growing. And you're going to make these good impacts over here as well.
Absolutely.
These are all good things that you can market them or not. We don't care. We just know that we put it in there and it's there.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
We feel good about what we just did for you.
Exactly.
And so, that's been our kind of our approach in integrating. One of the things I think that helps that is we integrate branding with product design.
Got it.
And we don't separate it. Typically, those are 2 separate companies. And so we really focus on bringing that together because if you are mission driven, that has to tie into product. You cannot have a separate thing going, oh, we're mission driven, but the engineers don't know that.
Yeah.
Like you got to have this very clear communication. So we look at it from okay, here's your branding, here's your pack, right? You're telling your story. Well, let's make the product be helpful to telling that story instead of a marketing team having to figure out, okay, well, we said these things, but the product, like, what do we need to fit in order to make it
fit the thing. Yeah, I get it. And that's, again, when you bring up conscious design, I had to kind of step back and like ask myself, what do I think of when I think the word conscious design? And 2 things came to my head. One, there was a book that I have in my library. It was called, I think it's called Design Like You Mean It. And it's really about showing off different design architecturally around the world in crisis, like different places in crisis, and designing around different areas, different issues to help house people or of cultures of different areas. And it just, again, it goes into detail of like what's going on in the particular area, but also just showing you is like the creative solutions behind where they could find material or where they could get these different items to create new structures and stuff like that. So that was, to me, like when I thought about conscious design, I was like, oh, it's like putting yourself in the moment of like someone who's going to be literally using it to not only save their life or help save their family or something like that. The other thing I thought about, and tell me if I'm wrong or not, but it's like the thing that really, when I was in school, that like we were, I guess, thrusted upon was biomimicry and using the culture or the society of the natural world to help influence design. So, I mean, most people, the first thing that they think of is the speed rail train in Japan was designed from a bird's beak. And so one of the things that again, it's like you're using, being in the moment to solve a problem, or being in the culture, or being in the natural world, or being somewhere and trying to creatively come up with a solution for an issue, but also make sure that it's like appropriate for, it's like reading the room. It's like it's appropriate to have this and it doesn't stand out. It doesn't, to go too far off what what the brand represents and all of that stuff. So it's like, I just wanted to share with you, it's like when I read about the conscious design and just like I had to ask myself, like, what do I think this conscious design means? So I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it might just be like something that we could connect on.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that's, kind of throughout, there's 4 pillars to conscious design. There's observation, impact, connection, and inclusion. And kind of I spend a lot of time talking to people about the observation part, and that's where your example of biomimicry is a perfect example of that. Is if you actually just sit down, and the best kind of visual for this that I've come up with is a lot of times companies, brands, people, like we want to get to the part where we're building and launching the product. We want to solve the problem.
Yeah.
But it basically, when you're tasked with that, it's like somebody blindfolded you, put you on a crane, and then they dropped you on a racetrack.
Yep.
There is out of 360 degrees, right? There's a 1 in 360 chance that you are actually aimed the right direction. Yes. Most of the time we sprint. And then as we're sprinting, we start to take it off and observe. And that means 359 times out of 360, we're going at least a little off. But there's 180 that are going actually backwards.
Yep.
Right. So like there's a 50% chance you're going really wrong.
Yep.
So when you think about that, like the reason we came up with these pillars and observations, the ones that we talk about, and biomimicry falls squarely in that, is if you take in a sprint, right? You take half a second to like look around before you sprint, take the blindfolds off first. You will beat most people because they're already running the wrong direction. You will get a head start. A half second doesn't actually kill you. And, in terms of like product development, we're talking about you could be investing 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years in developing. Like we're talking about new technology. Like we worked on, speaking of biomimicry again, we worked with a company that they figured out how to duplicate gecko's feet.
Nice.
In order to grab packs. So we helped them design and build a robotic arm that can like pick up stuff with equivalent of a gecko feet. And if you look at what geckos walk everywhere, ceiling, it's
everywhere.
Crazy. Any material, like they just walk out glass, no problem. Done. Did it. So like it's there, it's a solution, but they had to like take a second and go, we need to accomplish this. What else exists out there doing it? And then you're like, oh, gecko, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah,
exactly.
I think they spent 8-9 years developing it, but it's
Wow.
like so revolutionary. NASA is looking at it, using it in space
Yeah.
because vacuums don't work there. So like, what else are you going to use to grab stuff pretty easily that are delicate?
Yeah.
The silicon chips, they're looking at using the same technology because it works.
Yeah.
So, when you take that equivalent of like take 3 months to think about it, that's the same as taking half second on a race.
Yeah.
It helps you. So really, just what you said, like take a second, look around, observe what's there.
Yeah.
And yeah, there may not be this, yeah, they found the gecko foot. Great. You're not always going to find the solution sitting there to copy. That may not always be there, but you will at least get inspiration, or you'll see that things are aimed in really wrong direction and you need to change direction before you just start sprinting. Yeah. And that's something that we really try to get our clients to do, is like, okay, you're going to spend millions of dollars doing this. Let's not have to undo anything. Like, you do not want that bill. Let's
absolutely. Let's just keep it as short. Yeah. Let's save some money. I think what is great about like what the process can do for all of us is, again, looking not only inward, but also outward. It's this kind of appreciation of like both yourself and what you've kind of like have around you as well, because there's a level of that connective tissue between you, your brain, the design, and your outside world and what that entails. So again, conscious design, I was so like enamored by it, and I'm going to have to probably read your book, because I think that...
Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to. I'm going to try and pick it up and read it. We're reaching the end of the conversation. So there's so many more things I want to pick your brain about. I'm going to just kind of go through some stuff quickly. I would love to get in the weeds with you as we've evolved as humans and our technology has evolved. Now we're sitting at the precipice of AI, and also on top of anything else, I think one of the things that stands out, especially for you guys, 3D printers have become a thing now, where now you can create, model, and try and test before you even, continue forward. So there's a kind of a new piece of tech that has now allowed you to take that moment that you're looking around, that second, and even process like, okay, or even test, like look at it in a way of like, if I go this way, well, let's try and see what it does. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, I'll step back and then I'll try again. It's like there's something about that like 3D printer I find so fascinating, because anyone can have it in their home, and that allows for so much creativity from individuals who you may not even know are geniuses at what they can solve.
Yeah, 3D printing. So I've been around 3D printing for 20 years. It's even older than that.
Yeah.
But it has finally hit this point, probably starting 7-8 years ago, where it changed from like, okay, this is a cool nerds thing, where the engineers and the nerds are like, this is amazing and we're going to use it for anything, and then they're 3D printing D&D things and production parts, and then nobody else knows about it, right?
Yep.
And now it's so prevalent, where we work with, not all of the companies we work with, but sometimes we work with like inventors, super small companies, where they're able to put ideas out into, like, use a 3D print and show us, and it helps them communicate. So it's great to have just like this additional medium. Sometimes it's a napkin sketch, sometimes it's people will send us like 3 paragraphs describing it, and sometimes they go, well, here's what I 3D printed and it kind of works the way I want. Can you we need to make this production ready, but like this is kind of what's in my head.
Yeah.
It's along that path, because people think in so many different ways, right?
Exactly. That's the other thing. Some people are a little bit more vocabulary based. Some are a little bit more like physical models, like, because that's their way their brain works. And as the person who's helping them take the next step and guide them into their actual like branding and business, you have to be the one that interprets those ideas too sometimes. So it's like, it's not always easy on you because you don't speak sometimes you may not speak the language, but that's something that's like this, having another, like you said, method to understand and appreciate and kind of gain and obtain what the customer wants is just vital. Like, I feel like it's just so important because there's a level of like, there can be miscommunication between you guys or the person, guy helping and the actual like inventor. So it's like you want to less static and more communication so that everyone wins. And that, I think with 3D modeling, there can be that level of like, okay, this is a test, but it works. So let's try and push it forward. It's like, that's to me, it's just like, it's just a level of like coolness also on top of it gets the idea out and to a physical form.
Yep, absolutely.
Other than that, I would love to now kind of push you to give us a little bit of insight on the future and goal setting for you, especially with the firm being where it is now and you doing it for about almost a decade. Is there any, I guess, real big high pie in the sky goal for you and for the Peterman design firm?
Yeah, I mean, our goal kind of remains the same, is that we really just want to help ideas that are really good, that will make an impact. We just want to help those get out there. I mean, that's kind of, I have my own inventions and ideas rattling around in my head. I have those, but my main kind of one of the driving things is I firmly believe we have all the solutions to all the problems, and it's about finding the people that have those and helping them get it done. So that's that is the goal of the firm, and I'm actually just kind of been running in the background. We have a venture studio that we've put together to help the ones that don't have the money to do it. But are still right. There are solutions to everything, and if you can find the person with the idea and apply the resources, there's a market. There's people that need those things solved, and so that's really, it's problem solving.
I love that.
I love doing it.
Ian, it's just incredible because I can definitely relate to you now because that's essentially what this podcast is. We know that people are out there that have stories. I know everyone has a story. It's my passion and my joy to go seek out those great ones and share them with the audience. And I have to be.
Why I do my own podcast too. There's so many cool stories and people out there. We need to know more of them.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm a big fan of, I don't know if you know this one. It's the 99% Invisible. It's like that design podcast. It's essentially, it goes anywhere between architecture, industrial, like any design element is just like, and then they tell a story about it. And I think it's so incredible. It's such a beautifully well done podcast, but it's like the level of like appreciation of storytelling and then to involve inventions, design, all of that is just, again, a critical thing that I find. So like it just speaks to me. Like one of the episodes, and I will just stop after this, but it's like one of the episodes was in Canada, raccoons are an issue with trash, and someone designed a raccoon proof lid for, and then something happened where it's like they got smarter, they figured out how to open it, so he had to like redesign it. And it's like this story of like battling raccoons to solve an issue of like, it's so funny, but it's so great and so cool to have.
Real problem.
It's a real problem. It's people solving real things. So
it might be a South Park episode, but it's also real.
Yeah, it's again, I love these sort of like, again, it's culture, it's entertainment, it's everything. It's all of us, and we can listen to it for 30 minutes to an hour, and it's like, why not? Because it's important sometimes too. Because I've listened to many podcasts that have solved my problems personally or physically, whatever it may be. And I think it's important sometimes to at least take the time, like you said, don't sprint, just monitor, read the room, listen, take in information, take in.
Then you can sprint.
And then you can sprint. Yeah, you can still sprint, but it's at least take the moment to at least like accept something so that you can have an informed decision to move this direction or this direction.
Yes, so informed decisions, and that's I love that you love the terminology conscious design. We spent a lot of time thinking about what to call it, and that it ultimately came like, well, you have to think about things before you think before you do. Like that's
exactly. Absolutely,
that being hammered into my head, but it's true. As much as you hate it when you're a kid, it is true.
My grandfather was the he would say this a lot, use your CS. And it took me a while to figure out what he meant by CS. I was like, what is he abbreviating? And one day my mom was like, common sense. And I'm like, oh.
If you had some, you'd know that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's what my mom rolled her eyes as soon as she said it. I was like, oh, I'm still young. So that was again, it's like my grandfather was a very important subject and person to me. He taught me a lot about storytelling, but again, that was one of his biggest Mr. Miyagi moments. Is like he just kept saying CS. He never told me what it was, but it meant like to me, it's like he was telling me, it's like just listen. That's all I need you to do. Just take a moment and listen. And so, yeah, that was one of the biggest things that he taught me, and I will never forget it. And I really respect you for writing about it and putting it into words that help other designers appreciate that. So, Ian, we've reached the end, and I thank you so much for sharing not only a little bit about yourself, but the Peterman design firm. And I know for a fact with someone like you running it and being the head and having the foundation that you have, it's going to do bonkers, and you're going to go off and do some incredible things. And I have high hopes for you. So that being said, the floor is yours to now promote where they can find you online, all your social media handles. If you want to give your email out or something of a phone number, the floor is yours. Go right ahead.
Well, thank you, Jose. I really, really appreciate that. And it's been, before I go into that, it's been a pleasure. It's been a fun conversation. So thank you for making it fun and not, drilling 52 questions and making it horrible. So thank you.
No problem.
The nice podcasts.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And so for people that want to connect, it's super easy to find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Ian Peterman Design. Google that too. That'll get me up 99.999% of the time.
Yeah.
Petermanfirm.com. That's PetermanFirm.com. That's my main design website, the firm's website. You can also go to ianpeterman.com, and that's just more about me. So like I said, easy to find me, happy to talk. I do phone calls with people all the time. If you have projects, we'd love to talk to you, learn more about what you need. And
awesome.
Being on here.
Shout out the podcast. I want to hear, give us
Conscious Design Podcast. That you can find, we're everywhere, including YouTube. We do video as well. So
awesome.
Love being able to do the video part. You can find us Conscious Design HAUS.com, consciousdesignhouse.com. Whole website dedicated basically to the book and the podcast. So check it out there. There's tons of content there. So take a look. Absolutely. And for everyone who's still listening, if you haven't subscribed and everything, you need to do that. Don't leave Jose waiting here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Ian, you are fantastic. You have again just so many great things about you. I cannot express how much fun this was for me. And I wholly believe that with conscious design and you at the forefront of Peterman, it's going to be great things for the future for you guys. And also, if you want to hear every episode of our podcast, findingarizonapodcast.com. Social media wise, Finding Arizona Podcast under everything. And last but not least, we always end every conversation with a kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends. And we will see you next time.